So my name is Sandeep. I'll be the moderator for today. So a quick show of hands. How many of you are actually using for your work on a daily basis? Okay, awesome. How many of you have AI embedded in your work already? Okay, awesome. So it's not a topic, or it's actually a topic that is it's actually a topic that is very relevant to you all. So for today's panel, we have a founder. We have Mr. Praveen. He's a veteran in the industry. He has been with IBM for a very long time. He is now a founder of a company called Purple Lens. We have a researcher. We have Dhaval. He works with Microsoft. He's a security researcher and an engineering lead over there. And then we have a CISO as well, who actually makes the decisions on hiring and the strategy at Flipkart. All right. So now, since we've moved on with the introductions, let us begin the panel. So the panel, we are going to cover three main themes. So what's changing because of AI? What is at risk? What is emerging? And then what we think we should do. The panel thinks that we should do to move from a learning standpoint and move us forward from a job standpoint. Okay, so let's begin. So the first question is for Dhaval. Since his okay, cool. So it's not working.
Hello. Yes, so we have now the glitch pressing.
Okay, awesome. So, with the vulnerability work that you do, where has AI actually changed on what you do today? Try to give us some examples, real world examples on not specifically what you do, but what you're seeing in the industry as well.
Sure. Yeah, to begin with, I think AI has changed everything. When I say everything, means everything. I'm into vulnerability management as of now. 30 seconds to just give a quick background. Working with MSRC, Microsoft Security Response Center, where we run one of the largest bounty programs in the world. Okay, thank you. So basically what we do, we work with researchers globally day in, day out, at least, if not thousands, and at least 900 researchers a month. And I'm talking about individual researcher as well as the research companies. So what we have seen in general is the way research is being conducted nowadays has changed tremendously. Earlier, how the research work used to happen was, okay, you understand you want to target something, so you begin with, okay, what is that if I want to target an asset, if it is in the cloud, it is related to Entra or identity, or it is some simple product or a web-based product. You will start understanding what is the product, what is the technology. The research process itself was like a couple of months of work. Now with AI, users have to use a couple of prompts to get you the gist of, okay, what is the product, what are you looking for, and at the same time, suppose if I want to research into XSS, process scripting, or SSRF. Now, even to learn that technology, vulnerability or details of the vulnerability, how to exploit itself has reduced from couple of months to couple of hours or even couple of minutes, depending how aware you are already about the technology. So the way we are starting to receive the reports, and talking about as an industry as of now, is it has increased tremendously. If we used to get say 100 reports a month, now it has easily gone to 700 reports a month. Now that is just not about the scale, the quality of the report. Now when I say quality of the report, it means two things. One is like how well structured, how well informed, how well contained in terms of information that report is. That has increased. Now second comes the quality of the finding. Now with AI, one amazing thing that has happened in the industry is AI slog. Has anybody heard about AI slog? So it's just about signal to noise ratio. How much of information you are getting as compared to how much that information is real or worth putting an effort. So out of say 900 or 800 reports, at least again 750 would be just garbage. Very good packaged, very nicely built report. AI is by default submissive. So if you say, hey, this product has an XSS, can you give me an exploit on this? AI will be like, yeah, this is how you do exploit. So there is the research has changed in this way. On the counters on the other side of the table, while the workloads have increased, we are also developing systems working on the system where we are leveraging AI to counter these signal to noise things, right? So if we have systems, we are developing and we are working as well at the same time where the triage part of the vulnerability management, where okay, you get the report, you see through the report, you understand the very first level, how okay, how good, how reliable this information is, and then you try to segregate signal from the noise. Okay, now this is complete report, this seems more possible or plausible in terms of, okay, yeah, this could be a vulnerability. Let me do a further triage and send it to my research team and the respective product team. So in this way, both the systems have evolved in terms of scale, in terms of quality. Quality is something that we have been trying to achieve on both sides of the world. The quality of the research that has been happening, that is, okay, now sorry for that, I have been So the quality of research where we have to come par with our researchers and the researchers have to come at par with our process. So this is where we are in terms of impact of AI.
Thank you, Rahul. And so that's a good point you make, right? So with AI, the scale is changing. With AI, lots and lots of vulnerabilities are getting reported, but with also AI, we are able to leverage AI to actually triage those vulnerabilities as well. And that's where the value is now. If you're trying to build a career around vulnerability management, then from a product security standpoint, specifically, so you need to work on how to understand the vulnerabilities that are reported to you and make them basically reduce the noise from all the signals that you're getting. Okay, so moving on, we'll move to Praveen. Now, Praveen, you're building a product around AI pen testing. So what is that you're seeing today? What do you see? What is AI able to actually do well from your standpoint, and where are its limitations, and where exactly does the human come in the loop?
Sure. Hi, guys. Today, as Dhaval mentioned, what AI has done for us is two things. Primarily, first, it has increased the velocity at which things are coming at us, right? It has increased velocity at which vulnerabilities are getting reported. It has increased the velocity at which code is becoming written, right? Everything is getting faster, but at the same time, as Dhaval also said, a lot of slop is coming through. So what is working in terms of from an AI perspective, right? While a lot of us use a lot of large language models, one of the challenges with them is that it can also generate a lot of garbage. Right? So that's the challenge, and the whole thing, what's the output or the response that you get from a large language model, primarily depends on what is the context you're giving it, what's the question you are asking it, and how well trained that model is on that specific topic that you are asking the question on. Today, from a text analysis perspective, right, whether you have to write a blog or write any text, AI is way ahead, right? I think none of us, we are all using AI to do anything related to text, right? Now, the real challenge is, can we use AI to do decisions, right? So that's what the next generation, or that's what all the new technology of AI is talking about. Agentic. Agentic is basically, can you use AI to make a decision, and is that decision correct? And typically, always, right, whatever tools you are using today, decision is always done by you as people, right? The human is doing the decision, but can AI do the decision? That is the big question here. The real answer to that is, in some cases, yes, it's very, very subjective, depends a lot on context. It depends a lot on what it is trained on, what is the data underlying. Or if it is not able to make that decision, can you train it with that additional data that it requires in order to make the decision? So yes, we don't have access to something like Mythos or the ultimate LLM available today. But all of us are already using a whole bunch of large language models. And that decisioning is something that, as we develop the systems, is improving rapidly day by day. So that's what I'll say. So we are not yet there for all use cases, but how we will we train the data or the LLM that we use on top of it, that is what will determine whether the decision making is happening correctly. It's still early days.
Thank you, Praveen. And so the velocity is changing with how product development is done today. The speed is increasing, and I think from our standpoint, we need to adapt and become one with AI and not be scared of AI to actually move ahead in our careers. So now let's move on to Karthik. So Karthik, you are a CISO. So where exactly are you using AI the most in your day-to-day job today from a security standpoint? And are there any areas where it has actually let you down?
Okay. Couple of areas where I feel AI is kind of contributing significantly when I have to talk about security. Top five things that comes to my mind is SOC, Security Operations Center, right? So where the current challenges today, initially there used to be like 5,000 to 10,000 SIM alerts that get generated. So the analyst has to go through all of those and then identify that which makes sense out of it, right? So now AI has come to a phase where it is kind of generating thousands of alerts. Now the biggest challenge in security is not about detection, but about identifying that top 10 or 15 incidents or top alerts that make sense out of these thousands of events that's getting recorded in the SIE. So that is where I think detection engineering is kind of something where AI has played a significant role in terms of doing an alert correlation or generating a use case for detection, or in terms of summary incident summarization, right? Reducing the analyst fatigue in terms of the detection engineering is something where it has significantly contributed, right? The second area where I see is threat hunting. So previously, threat hunting requires a specialized skill set to write complex queries. But today with AI, what I feel is it has kind of brought in a level play. Where today, if I just have to give a prompt, hey, can you just give me the list of, let's say, a PowerShell commands executed from a privileged account and also an outbound network connectivity. I just have to give the prompt, AI writes the query for me, and it gets the output, so gives the output. So the skill set or the skill set bar at the lab is something that's kind of neutralized with AI coming into that area. A third area where I see is typically which everybody would be relating to phishing emails. So previously phishing emails, we can identify it's a phishing email with the incorrect spelling mistakes. Then it evolved to identifying it based on a bad URL. But now it's kind of evolved beyond that, where it is identifying emails based on the context, the grammar, the previous communications, and all of those. Identity engineering. I think today 80% of the breach is something that happens because of compromised identity. AI is doing a significant job in terms of proactively identifying those instances using user entity behavioral analytics, where impossible geographical travel, or be it a person's a particular user's incomplete or a deviant behavior from a standard behavior. So these are cues with which it is able to pick it up, right? Typically, these four areas I feel it's contributing significantly. But where AI is let down, this is some interesting point, right? So one is AI lacks context. So for example, I have a production database getting deleted at 2 a.m. I can see it as a catastrophe, or I can see it as a normal activity if it's a planned activity. Now the key to identifying this as an event or it's just a false positive is the business context, which AI still lacks, and humans are the ones who are still feeding the context to AI. The second part is hallucination becomes very dangerous, not only for humans, especially in cybersecurity and with AI, because I'm fine with someone saying I don't know, rather than someone confidently saying that this is completely taking a charge of something is completely wrong. So there are instances where AI kind of gives a strong hallucination. Let's say if an organization heavily reliant on AI to make a containment decision, or someone looking at an analysis of an indicator of compromise which it is kind of putting in, that kind of puts me in a worse situation rather than where I don't, it is not able to and I'm able to figure it out myself. So that's something what I feel is one of the biggest challenge. Then AI friendly. I talked about this as a positive. There is a con to it. Now, on one hand I said AI has reduced the number of detection overheads of an analyst, but this is not a complete reduction. There is a shift in the problem, but the problem has not disappeared. Instead of analyzing thousands of alerts, now analysts are spending time in analyzing the hundreds of recommendations that are given by AI. So the problem still persists. So it's in a way it's not completely eliminated. So I think these are predominant areas where I feel AI still lacks and it needs to evolve. But overall, if I have to sum it up, 5 years, if I have to be very specific, let's say SOC, because that's the first primary phase of any incident, right? So 5 years back, AI supported us with detection, and today AI is supporting us in terms of doing investigation. But I think over a period, future is where AI will evolve to automatically respond to the attacks. So that's where we are at this stage. So these are something what I feel.
Wow, amazing, amazing context. So thank you so much, Karthik. So, and the crowd appreciates it. So awesome. So let's summarize this, right? So what's changing? I think what's changing is the speed at which we would do things. Maybe, sorry, a couple of years ago is changing. We are moving faster today, be it vulnerability triage, be it product development, be it detection engineering, threat hunting. So as if we don't use AI, then we fall behind. But it's like adding 10 arms to us, and that's what AI is doing to us today. Now, I'll move on to the next topic. So, what's at risk and what is emerging? I think they've kind of covered a little bit in the first question itself, but I'll give them 30 seconds each, and I'll ask them quickly what's at risk and what's changing. So, we'll start with Dhaval. So, what's emerging? What's at risk and what's emerging in 30 seconds?
Human. Human. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. Not yet. Hello. Hello. Yeah. I'm super blessed with the images. So I would say humans are emerging and at the risk, and don't quote me or get me wrong. Why I say, let me start with the negative part. Why I say we are at the risk? Because technology is changing not just rapidly at, let me say, rocket speed, God speed, right? So it is very important, while whatever we are busy with, we have to keep ourselves updated with our job. Let me say, not just with our job, but also with what is happening in the industry, so that you just don't remain relevant for your job, but remain relevant for your industry. That is number one. And at the same time, humans are also the one entity which are emerging along with the technology. Why? How many of you have heard about human in the loop? Okay, my hypothesis in this, there are two types of human in the loop. One is active, one is passive. Passive human in the loop are the ones who are either ignoring the technology, maybe due to unawareness or overconfidence. So they are just saying, okay, AI, yeah, whatever it is, we'll take care of it. I learn, I'm superior to the job, I can do anything. And they will be not even considering AI in terms of getting assisted with the AI. Now, how can you shift in case if you are from passive side of the human in the loop to active side of the human in the loop? A, understand what is AI. You already understand what is your job, what is your domain. Now understand what is AI. If you have the knowledge of both, you will get to know how you can couple these two together and where. So there needs to be a synergy. You are the best person to identify those synergy. Your manager, your LT will not gonna give you spoon feeding way, okay, this is what you are doing, this is where you have to implement. It should be the other way around. You should understand these nitty-gritties and go to your management and identify opportunities where you can implement AI. Basically, wherever you have sure shot awareness of, okay, these are my workflows, these workflows involve absolute decision, and these absolute decisions are based on absolute signals, right avenues to automate, and then move it to AI. You can start with simple LLM to understand, get the context, then move to agents, and then eventually the future is all about agentic, where it is all autonomous, the way we have autonomous cars, right? They started with a simple thing where we were very traffic signals, right? Red, yellow, green, you know what to do and what signals, it is straightforward. So keep evolving. At the same time, 30 seconds, done. I'll roll back.
We'll give you another chance.
Thank you so much. I have just one simple question. In the age of AI, how many of you have built something? It may or may not be related to your work, but how many of you have taken an opportunity and built something? Everybody please look around. If I can just request people to raise hands. So I think this is one of the best way to get yourself moved from passive even in the loop to active. You get hands-on. Once you start getting hands-on, you'll understand technology better, and you never know. While you're working today, you might strike upon an idea, you might be having some idea which is there for a decade, and with the help of AI, you can quickly get to an MVP within few months. So build with AI.
Thank you, Dhaval. Deep context there. So we'll move on to Praveen now. So Praveen, what do you think? What's the risk today, and what's emerging?
I think one of the biggest risks today, is AI-based attacks. So if you think about it, hackers have been ahead, right? They learn much faster, do much faster than defenders, and it has been the history. Just imagine a scenario where a hacker is able to write an agent. He no longer needs to do anything manually. There was a joke, one of the CISOs in one of the forums said that I could take summer off because the Russians were on vacation, right? But that no longer happens. That's what he said. And so if a hacker can automate an agent that can continue working throughout the night, 24/7, and keep improving itself over a period of time, then how can you defend it, right? How can you defend a always learning system that is constantly attacking you, right? So that is one of the biggest risks, and that is also coming very soon, right? It's like you might say, OpenAI or Anthropic may not give access to their model, they have guardrails, etc. We know very clearly some of those guardrails have been broken, easily. And there are also a lot of open source models which have become extremely good. Like in our own testing, we use open source models, and we are able to find vulnerabilities, exploit vulnerabilities comfortably. So that future is not very far away, right? So we will need to, as defenders, what do we need to do? We need to get ready for an AI against AI kind of world, where the human is setting up the system to protect, setting up the system to continuously defend, and also helping in that effort. So that's where, from a skill set perspective, we need to be ready.
Yep, thank you, Praveen. And Karthik, so how has AI actually impacted the size of your security team? And mostly what do they actually do? And we have this thing about AI replacing entry-level jobs. So now the bar for the entry-level people is increasing. So how high is the bar today?
So, quick question is, AI is not replacing any of the talents what we hire, right? But what AI has done is, AI is replacing the skill set requirement of the candidate, right? A few years back, if I have to hire someone, I used to ask the candidate, what do you know? How you are going to come in and fit in and add value, right? But today the ball game is different. I spend more time and I'm more curious to understand from the candidate how he is learning and keeping himself updated. Because as we were discussing as well, right? Knowledge and skill is kind of become a commodity. It is no longer a differentiating factor, right? Everything AI can give you a lots of information. It can do a lot of automation. It's just that now the biggest aspect, adding to the previous question as well, the biggest risk is AI is more of a black box. So we just prompt, we get the output, we are using it. in this process of AI evolution, what we are failing to understand is the internal engineering and the complete gray box area of what is the processing element that's happening is something that's not happening. So I think AI, yes, definitely it has taken up a lots of entry level jobs. Yes, which typically, if you have to say, it's a low value, high volume jobs. See, these low value, high volume jobs are something that has been replaced by AI, while high value jobs, such as, like, for example, doing a threat modeling or doing an architecture review, so those kind of more high value jobs is something that's expected out of all the talents. So it's kind of an enabler. A simple correlation to the day-to-day activity is when we used to do math, we used to use mentally do subtraction, addition, and all of those. So when calculator come, people look at, why do you want to even do that? You have calculator in place. But calculator has never, kind of had a significant impact of us not having a good mathematical skill set. So it's an enabler. So AI is kind of an enabler, which is making people get out of the boredom, more monotonous job, and try to focus on more of a high value job where you give a lot of thought process to your skill sets, to your knowledge, and then something where you are putting your application to use. So that is where I see the shift is happening, but I don't see anywhere where AI is replacing. So one aspect what I would also want to say is people who try to compete with AI, you will fail miserably. People who treat it as a team member, who's just trying to use it as a co-partner in enabling things, definitely you will survive. You will even take a charge. Organization which relies heavily on AI is definitely going to have a huge impact, because the moment we do all of this AI, we become reliant on AI. What happens is we are creating a skill deficit. The technical skill deficit happens. So that is where I feel I'm a little not comfortable there. It's okay for AI to replace a junior analyst, but what's more worrying for me is an organization replacing the learning with automation. So in the process of automating, the learning should never get stopped. So that's where I feel it's kind of an enabler. It's not going to definitely replace, but people who don't adapt, who don't try to know how to use it and add more values to it, would be able to survive, and that should not be a problem there.
Thank you, Karthik, an amazing context. So I'll try to summarize what the speakers just said. So what jobs are at risk? The low value, high volume jobs are at risk today. Because AI can already do that for you. But what's emerging? What's emerging is you being able to use AI to look at the volume and get meaningful output out of it. The second thing is build something with AI. You have your processes within your organization. Now you integrate AI within these processes. What I've learned from my experiences, you should not be thinking about building AI at a very large scale, but build small use cases, prototypes, and that's what we're being asked to do as well. That build prototypes for across all of your processes that you do within your organization, and implement those within the processes so that you can do more with less. So these are the few things that are emerging as we move forward. Sorry. Okay, so we'll move on to the last topic. We just have 10 minutes left, so we're not going to do the Q&A. The Q&A will be, and we all are available outside, so you can talk to us. But what should we do now? Now that we've heard what's changing, what jobs are at risk, what is emerging now from our standpoint, and this particular question has been covered a little bit as well by the speakers. So what should we be doing now? And I'll start with Dhaval again. And Dhaval, from your standpoint, who's the security engineer that's hardest to replace right now? And what would their day-to-day look like?
Okay, yeah, deep question.
Deep question.
We have 10 minutes. I'll try to sum it up. And
Yeah.
Feel free to add. So hardest to replace, I'm just building on what I earlier said along with my co-speakers. The person who knows AI, along with person who understands AI, along with persons who knows how to leverage that AI for the work, and building the business on top of it, or understanding the business risk and communicating it back to the business is something which will be hard to replace. Now, it could be a junior level, it could be a senior level. The shift is, in order to become irreplaceable, at least for foreseeable future, move from being or start from being AI dependent to AI assisted, ultimately AI driven in your work. So you should be, if you're having this sentence in your mind, I'm not worried about AI, then understand what is the sentiment. Is it due to the confidence that you have because whatever you are learning and building, you're leveraging AI in your day-to-day work, so you understand technology and you're confident in doing that work and upskilling yourself completely, or you are too feared and I'm not worried because I don't care, I don't know AI. So I think if order to become irreplaceable, make AI your co-pilot. Okay, not the Microsoft co-pilot, but the co-pilot as the word. This is where I foresee being irreplaceable. At the same time, I want to convey my thought process, very personal thought process. When should we get feared about AI? The moment you see all the companies which are building models are not hiring humans anymore. I think that will be the strong signal to get worried about jobs. Until unless they are hiring, just ensure how safe you are. But if you are learning, one playbook that I recommend, I use as well, beat any career point in your life, leverage all the online platforms like LinkedIn. If you're targeting a particular skill set, or let me say a particular role, say related to identity or a GRC or an architect, just see what top 10 or 15 companies, what all roles are open and what are their job description, feed it to an LLM, ask it what are the top 10 things which are common across these 15 roles, and then you take that input and see out of those 10, wherever you are and how confident you are in those. If you see a gap, this is kind of self-assessment that anybody can do at any level, and I think personally for me and whoever I've shared this with have found this very useful, so I'll recommend this to everybody, no matter the role. Leverage the information available, leverage the technology available, but at the same time understand where you are and where you want to go. So if you have this understanding of delta, I think it will not be easy to get down on your feet.
Thank you, and amazing context. Thank you, Dhaval. And Praveen, same question to you. Who's the security engineer that's hardest to replace right now and in the upcoming future?
Yeah, I'll just take a step back.
Yeah.
First of all, do not fear the AI, right? It is no reason to be feared. First thing is reasons. I'll give you some reasons. First, any LLM that you use is a general purpose engine, right? It is trained on the whole data of the whole data that's available publicly, right? And probably some private as well. It's a general purpose machine. Think of it that way, right? It's a tool that you will use. If it cannot do specifically, like in our context as a security engineer, as a security architect, it cannot do very specific exactly the job that you do day in and day out, right? It cannot do that. It can definitely help in the job, but it cannot do that job, right? So no fear. Of course, things are changing very fast. It's getting much better and it's becoming much faster. All those good things are happening. So fear, take it out. Second thing is understand what agentic systems can do, because that has changed the game the way LLM has been used. Because this is where the AI is asked to make decisions. It's using tools. It's doing some reasoning. It's doing some analysis, and then it's making an output and the result. And it's able to do that in a recursive way. So that is where the real fear of what AI can do, right? So understand agentic, but at the end of the day, understand that if you tell it, just find me this one vulnerability, like Mythos was asked to find vulnerability in one of the open source browser engines, right? The cost of that is $35,000. So I don't think any organization, at least here in this part of the world, can afford $35K for one vulnerability. Obviously, that's much more than what an engineer gets paid. So things are getting automated, they are getting processed. So we just need to understand it, we need to be in the flow, and we need to be able to build systems, right? So the role of the engineer has changed from just knowing about security, just knowing about whatever your specific specialization in security, but you also need to know about how AI systems are built, what AI can do, and then how do you adapt to it and how do you use it. And ideally, you should be building. As Dhaval said earlier, you should build something, right? It doesn't matter what you're building, try it out, and then only you will be a good, I would say, understanding of what it can do and what it cannot do. That's where the fear will go away. Thanks.
Thank you, Praveen. Thank you very much. And Karthik, from your standpoint, when you post a security role today, what does the candidate actually good candidate actually look like? And you've talked about this a little bit earlier as well. So I want you to dig a little deeper. And another question around when one senior person is using AI really well versus 3 juniors you can actually train for the same budget, how would you actually make the call on who to keep and who to hire?
See, this is the, I mean, now it's the phase of a CISO where instead of dad jokes, it's become CISO jokes, right? So typically, if I have to tell you what's that I look in a candidate is 3 qualities, right? One is curiosity, right? How to learn, how to update, how to use AI, and rather than, so I'm currently the expectation has changed from someone who memorizes 100 syntax to someone who knows how to effectively play around and find a solution. I don't know a solution for this, but here is how I found the solution. So that's the kind of quality what I look at. One is curiosity. Second is being skeptical, right? Today we have a biggest problem. Given a problem with a time-bound problem to solve, people go to AI, does the prompt, find the solution, and then deliver, right? So the biggest challenge is the so-called security engineers are not, challenging the AI conclusions. They are not analyzing it. They are not investigating it. They are not breaking it. They are not even trying to improve it. So that is where the biggest challenge is, where I look for the curiosity, I look for the skepticalness in the sense the security engineer should be skeptical about whatever AI gives as a conclusion. Does AI make sense? Is it missing any business context or assumptions that is required? So that and is it something that's holistically covering all? That thought process of going and analyzing is something that's missing. So I want that skepticalness. Just because AI is giving it, we should not blindly trust it. We should go and question it. We should also think about any context. Why, for example, if it's an alert is being prompted by AI as a benign alert, the analyst should go and do an analysis of why AI is taking this decision of classifying this alert as benign. Is this missing any context? So that skepticalness of the AI output is something what we should be willing to. Third, what Dhaval covered as well, connecting technology to business. So what's important today is someone who has a business context, someone who has a good technical knowledge, and the art of marrying technology with business to enable business. Now, the second interesting question: would I replace a senior guy with AI versus 3 junior guys? So it's a question of experience versus potential, right? Today, if my house is on fire, I would hire someone who knows where to hit the hose, right? But rather, if I am trying to build a fire department over a period of 5 years, I would be hiring someone who is willing to learn, someone who is eventually has a good potential and who can be grouped into a firefight, right? So this is purely the context and the business decision of whom to be chosen. But a senior engineer, I typically believe with AI is not someone we should look at replacing them. A senior engineer with AI is a good engineer is someone who doesn't solve problem, but apart from solving the problem, he should also create more people who can solve the problem. So, someone who leverages AI, who builds more potential, is very important because the scale at an AI era, the knowledge should not be concentrated. It's something that should be evolved, diversified. So that's what I look in, where we use AI not to replace engineers, but rather we use AI to enable engineers. How quickly a junior engineer can become a senior engineer, leveraging an AI is something what I look at.
Deep insights, Karthik. So thank you so much, and I'm sure you guys picked up something today.
We didn't speak about governance. AI governance, I think.
Yeah, it's a very big topic. I mean, the focus was more around jobs and how AI is changing jobs. Maybe we can do a panel on AI governance in the near future as well.
That's an input.
That's a good input. So,
Each month we are doing different things. We have flash mentoring for AI governance, third-party risk management,
Okay.
and for agentic AI security, and for CISO rank. 3 different flash mentorings are going on.
Okay, thank you.
okay, so first of all, I'd like to thank the speakers, our host Karthik as well, for hosting us here at Flipkart. And this record, I mean, there were a lot of things talked about today, a lot of good inputs provided by the speakers. I'm sorry about the mic. So these videos, oh yeah, sorry. So these videos will also be available in their YouTube channel. So please go and follow the socials for the AI security community. And I hope you learned something today. I hope you picked up something. And if you have any additional questions, the speakers and me are outside as we move forward towards the break now. Thank you so much, and thank you for being such a good listener.